The app offered me $4,870 at 2:17 in the morning. I should have turned the screen down. I do not use rideshare apps anymore. Not to drive, not to request a car, not even to check a price when I'm out of options. If I need to go somewhere, I'll walk as far as I can. If it is too far, I give up. That may sound extreme, but it only sounds extreme to someone who has never seen a passenger appear in the back seat without opening a door. I am recording this inside my car, parked on an ordinary street, under a weak streetlight beside a cracked sidewalk. This is not Santa Helena Lane. At least the sign does not say it is. But after that night, I learned that street names do not mean much when a map decides to lie. The app is not installed on my phone anymore. I deleted everything. I cleared the cache, reset the device, changed my password, changed my SIM card, and even left the phone powered off for almost a full day. Still, every now and then, small payments land in my account. $37, $12.17. 2 transfers of $2.31. Always in the middle of the night. Always with the same sender. High route. If you ever receive an invitation to that platform, do not accept it. If the message says they're selecting drivers for private overnight rides with 5 times the usual pay, delete it without opening it. If the ad shows your name, your car model, and the sentence, "You were approved before you even applied," do not touch the link. I know how it sounds. I know it sounds like a scam, a viral campaign, a made-up story meant to scare exhausted drivers. I thought the same thing. And even thinking that, I installed it. Because the money came through. The price came later. My name is Marcelo. At least that is still the name I can say without feeling the backseat sink behind me. Back then, I was driving for 2 regular apps. The car already sounded like something inside it was about to give up, the dashboard light came on every day, and the mechanic had warned me that I could probably keep driving for a few more days, maybe a week. At the same time, rent, a car payment, and a repair bill had landed in the same month. I was not looking for adventure. I just needed one good night, enough to breathe until Friday. The invitation arrived on a Tuesday at 11:46 at night. It was a short message. "Marcelo, your area has been enabled for high route. Private overnight rides. Immediate payment. Up to 5 times the standard fare. Registration in under 5 minutes. Drivers in debt receive priority approval." I laughed when I read it. A dry, humorless laugh. I thought about deleting it. Then I thought about the mechanic's estimate folded in the glove compartment. I thought about the bank notice. I thought about the sound the engine made whenever I turned the key. I opened the link. The website looked too professional to be cheap and too cold to be trustworthy. It asked for my name, license plate, tax information, car model, banking details, and location authorization during shifts. No video, no support center, no explanation. The approval came in 2 minutes. "Welcome to High Route. Your first shift begins when you accept the driving terms." Before it unlocked the Start Shift button, the app showed 5 numbered instructions. They were not tiny safety tips. They were full paragraphs, written as if someone had tried to turn fear into a manual. Rule number 1. Never accept a ride between 2:17 in the morning and 2:31 in the morning, no matter how much the fare seems to solve every problem you have. During that window, the app is not looking for an available driver. It is looking for someone willing to open the door. If the accept button starts flashing on its own, turn the phone face down and do not look in the rearview mirror until the screen goes dark. Rule number 2. If the passenger gets in wearing a gray shirt with a folded jacket over his arm and asks to sit behind the driver's seat, confirm his name only once and end the conversation. He will ask simple, almost polite questions about your routine, your family, your address, and your fears. Do not answer. Every personal detail spoken out loud becomes a coordinate the app can use later. Rule number 3. Never accept a ride from someone you know during a high route shift. It may be a relative, a friend, a neighbor, an old coworker, or someone you swore you would never see again. If a familiar name appears on the screen, cancel without explaining. The app does not use people you know to make the ride easier. It uses them to make the driver doubt the list. Rule number 4. Do not stop on Santa Helena Lane, not because of a GPS error, not because of a passenger request, and not because someone is knocking on the window. The street looks short, but every time you try to turn back, the car ends up a few yards farther from the exit. If you're forced to pass through it, keep the car moving and ignore anyone calling you by name. Rule number 5. The rearview mirror may be used only once after the route goes silent. The first look confirms there is a passenger. The second confirms that you have recognized what he is. After that, he no longer has to pretend he is being transported. I read the whole thing twice. Not because I was afraid, because I did not believe it. My first reaction was to assume it was part of the branding. Some dark marketing gimmick for overnight drivers. Maybe the platform wanted to go viral among tired drivers, the kind who share strange passenger stories in group chats. Still, I took screenshots. The Start Shift button became available at 3 minutes after midnight. I was parked near a closed gas station, with the engine running and my phone clipped into the mount. A fine rain was falling, just enough to blur the windshield and smear passing headlights across the glass. The first request appeared at 12 minutes after midnight. "Pick up. Acacia Avenue, no unit number. Destination, White Sage Street. Fare, $148. It was a ride of less than 4 miles. I accepted immediately. The map opened with no voice and told me to turn into a narrow alley between a closed repair shop and a school wall. I passed that area almost every day and had never seen an entrance there. The phone signal vanished from the top of the screen. The radio went mute. The engine noise dropped, as if the car had entered a sealed room. At the pickup point, no one was there. Even so, the app chimed.
Passenger boarded.
I turned my head by reflex. A woman was sitting in the back seat on the right side. I had not heard a door. I had not felt the car move. She was simply already there, hands folded in her lap, face angled toward the dark window.
You can go.
Her voice sounded normal. The window beside her did not. Rain was running down the outside, but on the inside of the glass, the mark of a small hand slowly appeared, fogging the surface, as if someone invisible had pressed their fingers there to look at the street with her. I tightened my grip on the wheel and drove. She said nothing else. At every turn, the seat creaked a second late, as if her weight belonged to a different street than mine. When I slowed down, her breathing kept moving forward. When I accelerated, she became too still. The destination was a house with no number on a poorly lit street behind a row of old apartment buildings. When I stopped, the app chimed again.
Ride completed.
There was no one in the back seat, but the upholstery stayed sunken for a few seconds. Slowly, the mark faded. The smell stayed. The second and third rides confirmed that this was not just exhaustion. One passenger appeared in the back seat without the door sensor showing anything had opened. Another got out through a door that had been broken for months and would not open from the inside. In a plaza I did not recognize, a young man with a backpack on his lap asked before stepping out.
Do you hear the map's voice too, when there is no sound?
I did not answer. In a little over an hour, I had made $370. My fear did not disappear. It just became easier to bargain with. The money did not make any of it safe. It only gave me an excuse to accept one more ride. I told myself I would drive until 2 in the morning, well before the forbidden window. I would do one more ride, end the shift, and pretend it had only been a strange night. At 2:11 in the morning, I received an ordinary request outside rule number 1's time window. I accepted. The passenger never appeared. The app canceled by itself after 4 minutes, but paid the full fee. At 2:16 in the morning, the screen went dark. The clock changed to 2:17 in the morning. The request appeared. Pickup, nearby location. Destination, full vehicle clearance. Fare, $4,870. My stomach tightened. It was not an address. It was exactly what I needed. The accept button began flashing on its own. $4,870. $4,872.17. $4,873.31. My hand left the wheel. Then I saw movement in the rearview mirror. The back seat was empty, but the reflection did not look empty. You know when someone leans forward slowly behind you, and the pressure in the air changes before they touch you? It was that. A weight with no body, a presence folded over the seat back, close enough that I could feel the intention of a hand against my neck. Rule number 1 came back into my mind in full. Turn the phone face down and do not look in the rearview mirror until the screen goes dark. I slapped the mount too hard. The phone fell to the floor mat, still face up. The button kept flashing, lighting my feet. Do not look. I bent down without facing the mirror, picked up the phone by its edges, and turned the screen against the passenger seat. The request kept vibrating. Each vibration felt like a knock beneath the floor. The car became freezing, not air conditioner cold, abandoned place cold. The glass fogged from the inside, first in the corner of the mirror, then across the whole windshield. In the fog, thin scratches appeared like fingernails drawing numbers. 2:18 in the morning, 2:19 in the morning, 2:20 in the morning. The urge to look almost hurt, not because I wanted to see, because something behind me wanted me to see that it was waiting. I stayed still until the vibration stopped. When I picked up the phone again, it was 2:32 in the morning. The ride had vanished. In its place, there was a negative rating. 1 star. Passenger comment. Driver refused opening. My hands began to shake. I tried to end everything. The app only displayed.
Shift ending available after next delivery.
Delivery, not ride. On the screen, a new request appeared at 2:40 in the morning. Pickup, Hydrangea Street, number 88. Destination, North Alameda, no number. Fare, $220. The time was allowed. The route looked normal. I accepted because I was too frightened to think clearly, and because some cowardly part of me believed obeying the list would keep me safe. The passenger was standing at the curb when I arrived. Gray shirt, folded jacket over one arm, dark shoes with no shine, a face so ordinary it was unsettling, as if I would forget at the moment I looked away. He opened the rear door and pointed to the spot behind my seat.
May I sit here?
My heart missed a beat. Rule number 2. I confirmed the name on the screen. Artur.
Once is enough, Marcelo.
My throat closed. I had not said my name. The app could show the driver, the photo, the plate, and I tried to cling to that. I put the car in gear and followed the route. Then he asked,
Do you always drive at this hour?
The question was simple, almost polite, the kind of thing a passenger asks to break the silence. I remembered rule number 2. I did not answer. He accepted my silence calmly. After 1 block, he tried again.
It must be hard keeping a car like this running by yourself.
I stayed quiet.
Your mechanic was honest when he said the belt would not last until Friday.
My foot pressed the accelerator wrong. The car jerked. The man did not laugh. He only looked out the window.
Do not be startled. Drivers talk a lot. Sometimes we simply repeat what we hear.
How do you know that? The sentence escaped before I could stop it. In the rearview mirror, I saw only the corner of the jacket on his arm. Just that. A piece of dark fabric folded like old skin.
Now I know it matters.
I gripped the wheel. Listen, I'm just doing the ride. I did not want trouble.
You had trouble before you picked me up.
The app told me to turn right onto a street with no sign. I turned. The city changed volume. The buildings became lower, the shops disappeared, and the asphalt started reflecting a light that did not come from any street lamp. The GPS stayed silent, but the blue line trembled. The passenger asked,
Do you live alone?
I did not answer.
Is someone waiting for you to come back?
I held my tongue.
Someone who would pick up if I called right now?
That landed somewhere I was not prepared for. I did not say her name, but I thought it, and for some reason, that seemed to be enough. The man behind me inhaled deeply, like someone smelling food already served.
Renata.
My whole body locked up. Her name came out of his mouth with no question, no effort, no hesitation. I hit the brake. The car slowed sharply, but did not stop. Even with my foot pressing down, it kept sliding along the dark street, slow and obedient to something else. Did not say her name. It was the second thing I said when I should have kept quiet. The passenger tilted his head. I did not see it directly, but I felt his shadow shift in the side window.
Then she is a coordinate too.
The trip ended on an avenue with no houses. The app chimed.
Delivery completed.
The man got out. Before closing the door, he leaned his face toward the space between the seats.
You do not talk much, Marcelo, but you think loudly.
I was alone. Almost. The smell of damp cloth returned, stronger this time, mixed with something much too sweet like fruit left sealed in heat. I turned on the air, opened the windows, breathed through my mouth. Nothing helped. I tried to end the shift again.
Shift ending available after route correction.
Below it, the map opened by itself. The streets no longer had ordinary names. Acacia Avenue became Broken Belt Avenue. White Sage Street became Late Payment Street. A nearby ramp appeared as Renata Loop. I blinked several times, thinking it was exhaustion. When I looked again, the names were still there. The GPS finally spoke, but it was not the default voice. It was low, almost feminine, almost like my mother calling from far away, even though my mother had not been around for many years.
Continue for 600 yards toward what you owe.
I turned the volume off. The voice kept coming out, faintly, through the phone speaker.
At the next turn, keep right so you do not go home.
I tore the phone from the mount and threw it onto the passenger's seat. The screen turned itself toward me. New request. Passenger name, Renata. My sister. The fare was low, $17. The pickup point was 2 streets away. My first impulse was to cancel. Rule number 3 was clear. If someone I knew appeared, I had to cancel without explaining. But then a message appeared in the app chat. Marcelo, it is me. Do not answer calls. Just come. A man is following me. The wording hit me harder than the name. She wrote, just come. Renata said it that way when she was nervous. Since we were kids, it was not the kind of detail an app would pull from a profile. Another message arrived. I have Dada's keychain in my pocket. You remember, right? The one with the blue ribbon. Please. I am on the corner of Santa Helena Lane. My chest tightened so hard that my vision darkened at the edges. The keychain existed. I had given it to her years earlier after an argument we never really finished. She said she carried it when she felt unsafe. No one would put that detail into a generic lure. Rule number 4. Do not stop on Santa Helena Lane. I tapped cancel. The button did not respond. I tapped again, harder. The screen showed.
Cancellation unavailable. Passenger at risk.
The car coughed. The dashboard light flickered. The engine, which had been failing for days, became far too steady, as if something outside it had lent its strength. The blue route appeared. 200 yards. 150. 100. I thought about leaving the car in the middle of the street and running. My hand went to the handle. Locked. The power lock rose and fell by itself 3 times, then froze. The driver's window did not respond. The seat belt tightened across my chest, though I did not remember pulling it that hard.
Turn left.
I whispered, no. The wheel turned slightly on its own. I held it with both hands and tried to keep the car straight. The tires scraped the curb. The engine growled low. In a rearview mirror, the back seat looked empty, but there was a deep mark in the cushion directly behind me, as if something very heavy had been sitting there for hours. The screen chimed. Message from Renata. He knows my name. Another one. He has the jacket over his arm. Another one. He said you told him about me. I made the turn. Santa Helena Lane was too short for the fear it carried. It had dark cobblestones, high walls on both sides, and a single yellow lamp in the middle. The rusted sign hung crooked from a low pole. Santa Helena Lane. When I entered, the app stopped making sound. Not normal silence. A silence that swallowed even the engine. The car kept moving, but there was no vibration, no tires, no breathing from me. Only the pulse in my neck, far too strong. At the end of the street, someone raised a hand. It was Renata. My sister was wearing a light coat, her hair tied back carelessly, a phone in one hand. In the other hand, hanging between her fingers, was a keychain with a blue ribbon wet from the rain. She looked scared. She looked alive. She looked exactly like the Renata who would call me irresponsible before getting into the car. I stopped by instinct. Only for a few seconds. I know this is the part I repeat to myself. A few seconds. I did not pull over properly. I did not turn off the car. I did not open the door. I stopped because I saw my sister on the forbidden street, holding a memory I recognized, and my body made its decision before rule number 4. That was enough. The rear door opened. Renata got in on the right side and sat behind the passenger seat. She closed the door carefully, as if she were afraid to make noise.
Marcelo, drive.
It was her voice. Almost. There was a tiny delay at the end of the sentence, like a recording being played on the wrong device. I accelerated. Are you okay? I asked without looking back. She did not answer right away. Then she said,
You said my name to him.
I did not.
You said it where it counts.
My body became heavy. The phone on the passenger seat lit up by itself. The route went silent. I saw the sentence on the screen and understood it before I finished reading.
Route audio unavailable. Use rearview mirror for passenger confirmation.
Rule number 5. The rearview mirror may be used only once after the route goes silent. I kept my eyes on the road, or on whatever still looked like a road. Behind me, Renata breathed slowly, but the breathing came from the wrong place. Not from the right side, where she had sat down. It came from directly behind my seat.
Marcelo,
I did not answer.
look and see if I am hurt.
The word hit me, but I kept looking forward.
Please.
Just look once.
I lifted my eyes to the rearview mirror. I saw Renata in the back seat, but she was not where she should have been. Her body seemed to lean behind me, wearing the face I knew like someone holding a photograph in front of their own face. The eyes were right, the mouth was right, the hair was right. Only the distance between everything was wrong by 1 millimeter. 1 millimeter is enough for the brain to scream. I looked back at the road. The corner appeared. Finally, Santa Helena Lane began to end. I accelerated. The car bounced over the cobblestones. The engine's sound came back. My breathing returned with it, broken and loud.
Marcelo,
Now her voice came lower, older.
you have not finished recognizing me.
Something metallic swung behind me. A small jingle. The keychain. Then she hummed 2 notes from a song our mother used to sing when we were children. It was not the whole song. It did not need to be. 2 notes. Only 2. My head turned before my will could stop it. I did not turn my whole face. Only my eyes rose to the rearview mirror a second time. And in the second look, Renata ended. She did not vanish. That would have been better. Her face sagged like a poorly fitted mask, sliding sideways without falling. Under it, there was no defined face. Only something old tried to fit inside human features. The mouth seemed to remember that mouths were used for smiling, but it did not know where to stop. The eyes were not eyes. They were deep spaces, attentive, hungry to be noticed. Behind my seat, the man in the gray shirt was sitting, or the thing that had used the man. The folded jacket over his arm was not a jacket. It was something dark and long, hanging from him like a wet wing. He looked at me through the mirror. This time, I knew he knew. I knew rule number 5 was not meant to stop me from seeing the passenger. It was meant to stop the passenger from being sure I understood what I saw. Because as long as I believed I was transporting someone, he had to pretend. After recognition, he did not. The car burst out of Santa Helena Lane with a violent jolt. The ordinary street returned all at once, with streetlights, sidewalks, trash bins, closed storefronts, and a dog barking somewhere behind a fence. My phone fell to the floor. The rear door slammed, though no one had gotten out. I braked in the middle of the avenue. Behind me, silence. I did not look. The city looked too normal for what I was carrying inside it. When I finally had the courage to pick up my phone, the High Route app was gone. In its place, there was only a bank notification. Deposit received, $17. Description, family delivery completed. I drove to Renata's building without turning the car off. I do not remember the route. I did not remember blinking. I arrived a little after 4 in the morning and called her from the street. She answered sleepy, irritated, alive.
Marcelo, do you have any idea what time it is?
I could not speak. I only listened to her breathing on the other end and cried silently with my forehead against the wheel. She asked where I was. I said I was fine. A lie. I said I'd just been nearby. Another lie. I told her not to answer any strange app messages. She went quiet. Then she said,
You are scaring me.
I almost told her everything. I almost said the street name, the man in the gray shirt, her face in my back seat. But when I opened my mouth, I felt the upholstery behind me sink a little. I hung up. Since then, I have not been able to abandon the car. I tried once. I took 3 steps onto the sidewalk and heard a door open behind me. On the 4th step, my phone vibrated.
Driver off route.
I went back because with every yard I put between myself and the car, I felt something learning how to walk with my legs. Now I stay here. Sometimes I could drive during the day, go to the store, fill the tank, park on crowded streets. But when night falls, the locks close on their own and the back seat gets heavy. There is no passenger when I look directly, so I stopped looking. The transfers keep arriving in small amounts, like tips from someone patient. Sometimes a word appears beside them in the statement. Maintenance, silence, recognition. Today, another one appeared. Forwarding. That is why I started recording. Not to explain everything, not to ask for help. I already tried getting help in ways I will not describe, because even telling certain attempts feels like opening a path. I'm also not recording because I found a way out. I am recording because I did not. The app no longer appears on my phone, but the back seat is still occupied. I will not describe more than I already have. I learned too late that describing is also a way of handing something over. When you give a thing like that too much shape, someone else begins to recognize it from the inside. And that was what he wanted from the beginning. It was not a ride. It was not a trip. It was not a delivery. The person I knew never got in the car. The face was only a disguise used to make me stop. He took what I was afraid to lose, placed it on the forbidden street, and waited for me to forget that the list was not made for easy moments. It was made for moments when obedience feels wrong. Now the car is off. The door will not open. The air inside is getting cold, even though the night outside feels heavy and warm. Every time I try to turn my head, I feel the back seat sink a little more, as if someone is leaning in to listen better. If this audio reached you, do not search for High Route. Do not install it to drive. Do not install it to request a ride. Do not test the name just to see if it appears. Do not type it into a browser in the middle of the night. Money that comes to easily always collect somewhere that does not show up on the receipt. If the invitation arrives with your name, delete it. If the accept button flashes between 2:17 in the morning and 2:31 in the morning, turn the screen face down. If a passenger in a gray shirt gets in with a folded jacket over his arm, confirm a name once and shut your mouth. If someone you know appears, cancel before pity has time to work. If the route passes through Santa Helena Lane, keep the car moving, even if someone knocks on a window and calls your name. And most of all, if one day you look in the rearview mirror and recognize the man in the gray shirt, do not look a second time. Because it was on the second look that I understood he did not want to ride. He wanted to be recognized. And now that I have described his face, maybe you will recognize him too.